Hi guys, it's me, Faye. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking all about the Cincy Bookstore Crawl, which happened on October 4th and 6th in Cincinnati, Ohio, and like northern Kentucky. I had a great time, and I thought I'd share it all with you, like how I plan it, where all I went, what all books I got. But yeah, let's get started. The first thing I do when I hear about the bookstore crawl is follow their like social media, because they'll post updates on like the map and the stores that are being part of it in the hours. So first they posted this map, which I use to like plan my route, so I'm not going back and forth. I try to do like a loop like that, so I make it to all of them, and whatever I don't make it to on one day, I can just loop again the next day. And then I look at the list of the bookstores that are going to participate. I get some paper, I write down their names, I write down the location, I look up what the parking is like, because like some of this is in the city and there's only street parking. Then I look up what their hours are for the days of the bookstore crawl, which was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And here all that is, and sometimes I write little notes, and if they're in Ohio or Kentucky. And yeah, that is how I plan my trip. Now, the bookstore people said that all of the bookstores should be open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the 3 days, but some of them, open earlier or close later. So that really helps you get some leeway on the bookstore crawl if you're kind of like cutting it close, or if you want to start really early. Like I started really early on Sunday. I only went on Saturday and Sunday. I couldn't go on Friday. On Saturday, I made it to 7 bookstores, and on Sunday, I made it to the remaining 9. When you want to be a part of the bookstore crawl, you get a card at the first bookstore, and then each bookstore you go to stamps it, and at the end, you get entered into drawings. And then if you check the bookstore social media, sometimes they're doing their own drawings, or like giving free books and like making t-shirts and stuff like that. So make sure you check out their social media, their websites, all of that. Really plan it out to make sure you get to all the bookstores. This is the card. You can see I made it to all of them. They're so cute. This one was a comic book store, so you got to pick stickers. This one was a bear because it was a kids bookstore. They're just adorable. I started on Saturday, woke up a little late, and the first bookstore I went to was the Book Bus Depot. The Book Bus Depot has a little coffee shop / boutique attached to the side. It sells special editions of classics and newer books. And of course, it has a book bus inside. That's what it's named after. The book bus is a beautiful teal color, and it drives around to schools and events, festivals to sell their books. And a lot of the profit from this store, they donate back to the schools in the community. It is super cute. I will post some pictures, maybe a video of the special editions.
Beautiful things all around, in every smile, in every sound. Open your heart, open your...
The next bookstore I went to was probably my favorite. It is the Friends of the Public Library of Cincinnati in Hamilton County. That's a long name. I just call it the Friends because that's just easier to say. They gave me a little bookmark that has a coupon on the back for the next time I go. They have a outdoor sidewalk sale all the time, and these books will be like 50 cents to $1. On the inside, it is used in pre-owned books or books that get donated from the local libraries. Their books are pretty cheap, think like $1 to $5. Sometimes they sell like sets of series together. They usually have a special section each month That's, Black History Month, Latino History Month, maybe Christmas books or Halloween books. So there is new stuff all the time. And they usually have a little section on banned books as well. And that gets me into the books that I bought. First, outside, I bought a bunch of kids' books in this little coffee table book for 50 cents. It is like inspirational quotes, and it's all pig themed. Isn't it so cute? Well, that's a long one. Let me find a short one. Look how cute that is. I just couldn't resist. Then I went inside to the banned book section and bought this book, Speak by Laurie Henderson. Read it when I was in high school and really enjoyed it and got rid of my copy, so I wanted to get a new one. Next two books are ones I also read in high school. It is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Now, I think there is 3 books to this series, but these are the 2 that I had read. The next book I got is a new book, one I haven't read, and it's been on my list. I wanted to try some Taylor Jenkins Reid books. I've read 1 or 2, but I wanted to give this one a try. And I love this cover for this book. It's After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I prefer this cover the most out of like all the different cover types. It's just so cute to me. And then I got 2 pins. One that's like the bookstore's mission, and then just one that says I Heart Reading, and they were like really cheap, like 50 cents or $1. After the Friends, I went to Downbound Books. It's a pretty small and simple bookstore in an upcoming area in Cincinnati. I went last year on the book crawl, and there was only 6 or 8 bookstores. And I remember this one because the area was kind of empty, nothing happening. But this year, there's some local businesses and a new apartment building. So I'm glad for them because hopefully that means they're getting more business. It's really small and simple. I just gave it a quick browse and then head on to my next store. Next store I went to was Household Books. It's in an odd location. It was also under construction, like the area was, so it was kind of hard to find the parking. But once I got inside, it had a really good vibe. It was a lot of older books, classic books. They had a big thriller section, a lot of Harry Potter books. I guess the owner must be a Harry Potter fan. The next bookstore I went to was Joy and Matt's Books, and this is a new location for them, and it is pretty cute inside. It's very airy and bright and clean looking. There was 2 rooms to the store. The first room was all fiction, and then the back part of the store was all romance, thriller, and nonfiction. Now, when I walked in the store, I saw this on the shelf, and I had to get it. It just stood out to me. It is called Kink. It is a bunch of short stories about people exploring their sexuality and their kinks. And it came with a bookmark, which shows the owners. The next bookstore I went to was Conveyor Belt Books. It had a very cool vibe inside. It's like mustard and that like sage green, and they were playing old music. Very retro, think like the 60s, maybe that time era. It was a lot of older used books, kind of mixed. So it's definitely a place to just go browse and see what you can get. I got Black Maria. It is a collection of poems. Pretty sure it's about a woman and man who fall in love, fall out of love, and then she murders him. Don't quote me on that. I'm not totally sure, but I'm I'm pretty sure that's what this poem collection is about, and I'm psyched to read that. The last bookstore I went on Saturday was Roebling Point Books. Now they have 3 locations. I'm pretty sure each location is kind of small. It has a little like coffee shop inside. I got the caramel apple cider, and it was really good. Even though they are small, they are packed full of books for kids to adults. They had a little bit of everything. I bought a kid's book and this bookmark that I just saw it and I just love it. It says, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." I think it's just a good reminder to just slow down and everything will be fine. I really like the ribbon on it, the sunflowers, and the back's just dots. Then on Sunday, I decided to get up pretty early because I had 9 bookstores to go, and I was getting a little nervous about not making it to all of them. So on Sunday, the first bookstore I went to was the Hidden Chapter bookstore. It was a super cozy store. They had a couch and a fireplace, and it was a little dark, and they had a cave in the back that was all mystery and thriller books, which was cute. I'm pretty sure it was a small family who owned it, because that's who was at the cash register, was a mom and a dad and a kid. This would be the perfect bookstore to go buy your book and curl up on that couch and read in front of that fireplace. I mean, the vibe in there was just great. They had some nice music playing, and I ended up buying Black Cake. This is a TV show that I watched, and I also saw some things online about the book, so I'm pretty excited to read it. It's kind of thick, so I think it'll be the last book I read. I think I'll read all the rest of the stuff I got first. I also bought this bookmark. I'm just obsessed with it. It is so cute. Can you imagine just like curling up and reading like a dark romance or paranormal romance? This just fits perfectly. The second bookstore I went to on Sunday was called Ink in Northern Kentucky, and they were pretty small. It was honestly a lot of plants and pots and candles and stuff like that, and then a small section of comic books and other books. But they are about to move. Their last day in that store was like 2 days later. They're about to move to a bigger store where they can have more inventory and stuff. So I am so excited to see what that new store is like. And I didn't buy anything at this store. The next store I went to was the Bookery. It had a lot of options, and it was pretty bright and clean inside. But at this point, I was getting really hungry for lunch. So I'm going to be honest, I walked in, got my stamp, browsed around for a minute, and then ran to go get food. The next bookstore I went to was Blue Marble Books. Blue Marble Books is actually a kids bookstore, and it was so cute. There was books everywhere, toys everywhere, and the back they had like a table and some puzzles and stuff, and then upstairs was a room for story time. So it's definitely a good bookstore to go to if you have kids. And there was an area in the back that was all adult books, so that way if you're an adult you can go buy something from there too. I bought a kids book called Goodnight Mommy from this store, and then I was on to my next one. I went to the Cincy Book Rack. It is in a shopping center, and it has a neighbor that they're like joined with, some doorways are joined with, and it was like a little, I don't know, it had like gaming cards and figurines and stuff like that. I'll put a picture here, maybe that's a better description. They sold used and new books, so all different price ranges. They had a huge fantasy section and a huge historical romance section. So I bought a historical romance book because of Miss Bridgerton by Julia Quinn. I have read all of the other Bridgerton books except for this one. So I'm so excited to read this one and finally say that I'm done. Now, the other Bridgerton books I read a long time ago. I mean, maybe 4 years ago. So maybe reading this will make me want to read all the others again. We'll see. The next bookstore I went to was Book Matters. It was the only two-story bookstore that I went to during the book crawl. And maybe in my whole life, I've only been in one other two-story bookstore. And I loved it. Something about a two-story bookstore makes me think that I'm like in a movie, because in every movie you ever see, the bookstore's 2 stories. And the staircase was so cutely decorated. Here's a video on that. Then when I went up the staircase, I saw a section where they were selling books from local authors, like authors in the Cincinnati area. So I bought The Duplication House by Nathan Singer. It is a thriller novel. And then they gave me this little bookmark. I mean, does that not look like a bookstore right out of a movie or TV show or something? It was just so cute. Then I went to the bookshelf. It was in a cute little shopping area. But honestly, it was pretty small, but it did have a lot of options. The problem is when I went there, I guess everybody else was in there too, because it was so packed that I could barely move around. So I basically just got to glance around and get my stamp and leave. Now I bet if it wasn't the book crawl weekend that it would have been fine. Yeah, it was in a cute area, pretty small. A lot of books though, a lot of newer books. The next bookstore I went to was Bike Trail Books. It is near a bike trail, so there's like bike shops and stuff, and some bars and some restaurants. Really pay attention or you'll just drive right past it. You gotta really look for the sign. When I went inside, I think they were pretty bought out. You know, this was the end of the book crawl, so their shelves were a little bare, but luckily I got to buy a blind book. And you know how much I love blind books, so this one is a memoir, Asian American, food, woman author. So I will be making a part 2 of this video where I will be opening this wine book and reading it and talking about some of the other books that I got on this book crawl more in depth. And the last bookstore I went to was called Manga. And what do you think they sell? Manga. I almost didn't make it to the store, but I'm so glad I did. It was floor-to-ceiling manga and graphic novels. It was a very good environment. Everybody seemed like they were like passionate about what they were picking out. The staff was incredibly helpful. I really wanted to start the series A Sign of Affection, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I went up and asked the owner and they looked it up for me, and they had sold the last copy like 1 hour before. But instead, they helped me get Spy Family, which I've been wanting to start. I got the first one. And they gave me a really cute bookmark and a flyer with their bookstore like location and hours, and then another flyer that was like upcoming events, like they're doing a movie night, and on this weekend they're doing sales and stuff like that. But yeah, everybody in there was super friendly and helpful, and they just had a lot of options. So if you're wanting to get into manga or graphic novels, this is definitely the store to go to, and I am so glad that I made it in there in time before they closed. So that was my weekend doing the Cincy Bookstore Crawl. I am already getting excited for the one next year. They're just so much fun to go and discover new bookstores. They usually all have sales, and you're just surrounded by like-minded people, you know, all of these book lovers getting together. And when you're walking around the stores, sometimes you'll see the same people from last stores, which is really enjoyable because it just makes you wonder, like, are we on the same route right now? Because I think me and like 5 other people are like just following each other store to store. Anyways, I will be making a part 2, like I said, where I talk about as many as these books as I can and open that blind book. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!